What's going on, y'all? Josh and Mike back in the house, peer-to-peer travel chats. What is going on, my bearded sister from another mister?
Nothing much. How are you? No, what's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? I hope everybody's having a fantastic night. It is Labor Day, y'all. It's Monday. It's a holiday. I didn't work the last 2 days, so I got to enjoy just chilling at home, editing some vlogs, and getting caught up on being under the weather. Because if y'all were here last week, y'all already known I sounded like hot trash last Tuesday night. But I'm feeling a lot better tonight, so everything's going good. How's it up there in Virginia? Everything good?
It is fantastical. Not fantastical, fantastical.
I'm about to say that kind of sounds a little bit like testicle there, bro.
The puppy is doing fantastic.
Good.
She is on the mend. She's using her leg, and everything is healing up. So yeah, we're fired up about that. And she's back to her old self. She was trying to chase the cat today, and we're like, chill, bro. A little too much right now. You're not there yet.
Don't get to that point yet. Don't overdo it.
Yeah. So and we're real close to hashtag KMA territory. We're
I know you're like right there, bro. You're on the cusp. So I don't even know why I agreed to do this extra live this beginning of the month, knowing you were like right there. But I mean, listen, I can't really be too jealous, right? Because there's been plenty of times where I've done hit that KMA territory twofold before you even got near.
I know, bro. You get to go a lot more than me. I'm trying to get on that naughty level. I'm gonna get there one day. When I grow up, I'm gonna get on the naughty level.
That's it, man. All you gotta do is like pineapples upside down. You know what I mean? And then you're there. You're on that naughty level.
That's right. Hey, big show tonight. So little different look here. This guy, he's part of the cruise community, but he has a different look on life, and a lot of different things that he brings to the table than some of our other guests have brought. And as we said, this is not just a cruising podcast. This is about travel in general, world travel, cruising, parks, you name it. We're going to have all kinds of different guests. And tonight we have the pilot boat guy himself, Tyler from the Tyler Show. Welcome in, Tyler. How's it going?
What is going on, Mike and friends and Josh there? How are you all doing tonight on this beautiful, beautiful Monday, Labor Day weekend?
I'm doing all right. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little jealous of what you get to do. But other than that, it's good. It's a good night. No, I'm just kidding.
Modern frog hair split 4 ways, my friend. You ever seen hair on a frog?
No comment.
Not when it's freshly shaved.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so fine, man.
Not when it's freshly shaved, you know.
Freshly shaved frog. You got to shave them down before you eat their legs. And if you real down south Cajun, you eat more than the legs.
Oh, that's it. You eating the whole thing, bro. We ain't wasting anything here, man.
You ever seen some of them frogs they pull out of the water down there?
Oh yeah, bro. I live in Florida.
I mean, they hold them up with 2 hands like this. They're like almost 20-pound frogs. That's crazy.
We got some big old bullfrogs in the swamp down here, brother.
I know. So, all right, man. Tyler from the Tyler Show. You already know this dude right here is all things pilot boats. He's also all things to the port. But just let us know a little bit about yourself, your age, where you're from, and your channel, and we'll get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Tyler from the Tyler Show and the Cruise Junkie. Maybe on other platforms, it's the Cruise Junkie. A little backstory here. The Tyler Show was the name when I started this channel in 2017 here. Of course, in 2020, one-ish, I came up with the name the Cruise Junkie. However, I thought to pay homage of all the years of work that I put into the Tyler Show, I kept the name around. But you may know me on other platforms as the Cruise Junkie. I am 18 years old, living here in Central Florida, with the primary focus of all my accounts being Port Canaveral, Florida. Port Canaveral, Florida, I've grown to know the operations of the port really well. Actually, it's a little bit too much knowledge I have in terms of the operations, which to some folks is very, very interesting to hear. Pick my brains in terms of the knowledge I know, because I know a little bit too much than the average Joe about the operations of Port Canaveral. But anyhow, I've really grown up here in Central Florida, so I've known the port really, really well. And as we mentioned here, I also know the operations of harbor pilots around the Caribbean super well as well. So that's just a little brief overview, shorter overview here. Could go into a lot more details about the overview, but there you go.
You're muted, Josh.
So you're a young guy, obviously. You know, how old are you?
18. Yes, sir.
18.
Bro, I got hair in my beard that's 18 years old, bro.
No, man. That is crazy. And like at that age, I mean, who thinks about, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel based on harbor pilots and pilot boats. That's impressive.
It wasn't the
not only
original
impressive.
focus. I want to put this out there. It wasn't the original focus. The original focus of the channel was not that, but we've got to that. This is something after the restart, we kind of really honed on that. But in the past, it was like most YouTube channels with kids. It was like a hard drive of, I made a video here, put a video here. But we've grown to that category, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, even though, you know, you said you had your beginnings and they were what they were, just the foresight at your age to be able to go, you know what? I think it would be smarter for me to go this route. It's a better niche. I'm gonna thin this thing down, and I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you know, for me, like, you know, I'll go down the rabbit holes of cruise vlogs, and just to be honest with you, because you know, Mike and I are both cruise creators, you can only look at so many ship tours and so many, hey, I did this at a port. You bring something fresh and new, and I really like it. Mike, I thought you had something there. Yeah.
That's the one thing, like with me, right? Like we're talking about a kid who's 18 years old who started a YouTube channel back in 2017. So we're in 2023. So you must have been like what, 14, 15 years old when you really quite young age when you really like dove into the cruise scene. So you're talking about someone at such a young age diving into the cruise scene of YouTube aspect, right? But now after the restart in the pandemic, you're diving into a part that not a lot of cruisers know about, like a big thing about the pilot and how the pilot works and all that, right? So we all know that the pilot comes on, brings the ship in and out of harbor and all things like that. But you're bringing that different perspective. You're bringing that shot from the pilot boat. You're being able to see these ships as they're sailing out of Canaveral and all of that. So I just got to ask the one question. What's it feel like being next to one of these Oasis-class ships in such a tiny boat as it's leaving Port Canaveral? Because that to me is just mind-blowing. Being on an Oasis-class ship from the gate is mind-blowing, right? It's such a large vessel. But being on that pilot boat, I mean, that's got to be an epic shot, man.
It is hard to describe, to say the least. When you're on the ship, right? You're on the ship. You're looking down at the pilot boat. Yeah, it looks tiny, right? And then, especially because I do a lot of ship spotting at Jetty Park, and when you're at Jetty Park, right, you see these ships depart. You see the pilot boat next to the ship. The scale, you don't get the scale until you're actually out there on the water. When you're out there on the water, you're dwarfed, to say the least, by this ship. When you're coming up alongside the ship, you really can't see much besides the lifeboats, because that's just how dwarfing these ships are in terms of size. It is unreal, to say the least, and something I'm very blessed to be able to experience and show my viewers what actually goes on there on the pilot boats and with the operations of Port Canaveral, because to be frank, it's not something view that many people in the public get to experience. So again, that is something that I'm truly blessed to be able to show to everyone.
Hey man, stay Tyler. Don't become Frank. All right. Just stay Tyler. But hey, so a question everyone has to have on their mind is how at such a young age, let's ask that question second. First of all, how did you get your foot in the door with the harbor pilots?
Yeah. So that is a long story. I'm going to save you a lot of time because that is a very, very long story.
We got as long as you want to take, brother.
Okay, but I mean, trust me, this is like a 30-minute story right here, so I'm gonna consolidate it down to maybe 5 or 10 minutes here. So more of the story here. We're starting here 2020. Of course, I had no content to film. Right, I couldn't go on the cruises. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I actually was at the port or at Cocoa Beach, saw one of the last sailaways before the shutdown. I didn't know at that time it was going to be a shutdown. Right, we didn't know. So I was there. I saw the ship left. During that time, though, from about March all the way fast forward to give or take June or July, then we had no clue what was happening. We thought I was going to start up in a few days, right? Well, fast forward to the winter. The winter, I was out of content, right? You could only do so many crews, all the restarts happening, videos. So I decided to head down to Port Canaveral. Now, at that time in Port Canaveral, the only ships in the port, everyone else has left. They went overseas. They went to Miami. The only ships that were there were the Disney Cruise Line Ghost Fleet, pretty much. They were there. So I went there to film them coming in, and I didn't know what was really happening. At that time, there was no public port schedule here. There was pretty much nothing available to the public besides you have the Marine Traffic app, the AIS app, and occasionally, again, this is the reason I learned about the pilots. First off, of course, I've been cruising since a young age, so you've always seen those pilot boats, but most people don't know what they were, and until that point in time, I had no clue what the pilots actually did every single day here. So again, in 2020, I went to their website. They have their vessel schedule. Now that at that time, the vessel schedule update was not always up to date unless a certain pilot was on watch. Now, I didn't know that until a later date. So anyway, I was going to the port and just kind of guessing these cruise ship departures. Now, when I was there, I've always been taking pictures and photos and videos of these ships coming in, and I've captured the pilot boats alongside to post those up on my social media accounts besides YouTube, because the pilots aren't really on YouTube. They have a big Facebook presence, and a big Instagram is kind of for them. So anyhow, fast forward a little bit here. We go into 2021. The big break for me in terms of YouTube and Port Canaveral and all was when Carnival Mardi Gras came in for the first time with the Carnival Freedom and the Carnival Liberty. But also that day was the Odyssey of the Seas. It was unexpected. Now, I happened to be at the right place and the right time to capture her docking at Cruise Terminal 1 for the first time ever in the United States. So that goes from there. After that, I, of course, have my foot in the door. I get the exposure I need to kind of make a name for myself, and if you will, in the scene. Make my name for myself in the scene. I said, you know what? I might as well do what most other news outlets have, because I've been reading about it, as you know, during the shutdown, nothing else better to do. You want to learn how to, work on your craft and get better and better. So I go ahead and I make an email. I send it out to the pilots. Again, this was in 2021 here. So no one really knew what was going to happen with cruising. Could it be shut back down in a few months? So they basically said, we'll get back to you at a later date. Again, you know how the world is at this moment. So fast forward a few months, didn't hear anything back from them. However, at that time, there was someone who was higher. Basically, if you aren't familiar, so each port has a pilots association that does each individual port. Canaveral pilots, Palm Beach pilots, Biscayne Bay pilots, Port Everglades pilots, you name the pilots association. And they're all kind of joined together by the Florida Harbor Pilots Association, which basically helps them with everything logistically in terms of grants, funding, legal paperwork, and just providing a support to the associations every single day. They had an executive director, Laura DeBella. She ran a fantastic Instagram account, and we really started, exchanging photos for her page and really just communicating there. And luckily enough, she said, if you ever want the chance to go out, just let me know. And luckily, Laura has moved on to bigger and better things. She's actually now, I believe, the department secretary or whatever with the governor's office now for Florida business. So she's high up there now, which is super awesome to see. So I get that. And that is when my big break happens. I do a video with the Canaveral pilots, Captain Sean. If you watch the video on my YouTube channel, where I sit down and I explain word for word, verbatim, what do they do every day? And I hear straight from their mouth, right? Captain Sean is one of the senior pilots in the association. So he knows the port very, very well. So that was super cool of an experience. And there I got to meet other connections in the pilot association. So that's a little bit of a brief story there. It's a little long, but yeah, it's a very interesting story here. And that was awesome. The condensed version.
I've always wondered, man, like how do you get into this kind of thing? And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you've really laid some solid groundwork for yourself, not just on YouTube and social media, but how many kids, Mike, do you know that are doing this kind of thing? Like when I was 18,
I only know one, and that's Tyler.
I didn't even know a pilot boat existed. I had no idea,
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, man. Like that's a lot of grunt work to put into it, but I mean, it's paid off, right? Like this isn't something that isn't beneficial for you at all. Like this is not only educational, but at the young age of 18, like you're still in the prime of your young age where you don't even know what you want to do yet with your life. Could this be something that you potentially would want to be when you get older?
Yeah, so that was one of the things. When I went into this, I didn't really have a clue what I wanted to do. I was assuming I wanted to do this YouTube thing full time. Well, as I learned, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to do it full time with the niche that we have. We're not talking about finances, so you can't, get the crazy revenue side. So again, at that time, I kind of didn't really have an idea. I knew we wanted to do something with Port Canaveral, right? But with talking with them, I've really started to get an idea of what I want to do. Now, I've not 100% publicly going to say what I have yet because it's still in the works. But stay on the lookout. Some cool things should be coming shortly. I guess don't want to speak on it right now.
So are you still in high school or did you graduate?
Yep. Nope. I am in my senior year right now, so that's why I'm kind of forewarning here that there may be some things coming up. So.
That's a lot of balls to juggle at one time.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. This winter especially is going to be quite busy. I got a lot of things to juggle. So stay tuned, folks, on my platforms. Right now, we're going on my YouTube channel. We're on a little bit of a hiatus just because there's not any content to put out there. But this winter, be prepared. There is a lot of content coming your way. And yeah, so just be prepared for all my followers out there.
That's awesome.
Let's go, bro. 18,
yeah.
Still in high school. Yo, where was my ambition when I was 18 and in high school? You know what I wanted to do when I was 18 in high school? I wanted to find the first person in my town that will buy me alcohol, and I would go hang out with my buddies and get drunk. Like, that's what I thought about when I was 18. I lived up north. It was different. I know. I get it. But, I mean, come on, bro. Like, man, props. 18 years old, putting in the time with YouTube, putting in the time with school, doing things that only people can possibly dream of, with being on a pilot boat in the middle of the freaking ocean, watching a large vessel like Oasis of the Seas set sail. It's got to be epic.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no,
too,
that's for sure.
One of the things that, and I think about this a lot of times, with AI and, autonomous systems coming online. And I'm sure some of this at some point probably will be taken over by that, but it all can't be. And there are things that you just cannot replace humans. Humans are going to have to, like, the feel you have to come up next to that boat, not damage it.
Yep.
And I think moving forward in the future, and I tell my kids this all the time, like, everybody was so focused on academia and what you could do in academia. And they've been so focused on that now that, hard skills, skilled labor, things like, I think we're getting ready to see that stuff being flipped on its head. And, guys that can work with their hands and do these kind of niche.
Oh, there's such a shortage in trades anymore. It's crazy.
Especially in the maritime sector. Yeah. Maritime sector is the industry to get into. I tell some of my friends, this is the industry to get into. People are saying AI is going to take over shipping. And to be frank, some things may be more autonomized, but to be frank, there's always going to be jobs such as the harbor pilot. There's always going to be jobs running these machines, because there's, again, you need that human to tell, because the human's been doing it for so long. The robot, it can tell certain things, right? But it doesn't know 100% what a human experience has in terms of running pilot boats or just piloting ships or even being a captain of a ship. You don't get that with the computers.
Yeah,
everything, it just happens to be what I do for a living. Is like, I mess around with a lot of ML and AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and it's all based off models. And the one thing that you learn when you're working with models and simulations is that they're good for some things, but they're not good for everything. There's always going to be gaps in that data, and it takes a human to fill that gap.
Absolutely. That is for sure. I mean, especially we're going to hard pilots here for a second here. With computers, yes, you can calculate the current and stuff, but no one knows the port or that area of expertise, because not all harbor pilots are with ports. Some are with rivers, some are with bays, some are with natural objects such as bridges. They have pilots just for the bridge, but no one knows that area like the pilot does, because the ship's captain, prime example here, he's on the ship full time, right? He doesn't know Port Canaveral, for example, as well as someone who lives there and breathes that port. So that is a prime example of things that can never be replaced, because no one, the captain of the ship or just even a computer, isn't going to know, hey, that's Dave on said boat over there. He's going to stay out of the way. I know that's fine. He knows what he's working with. So there's examples like that where, that computers can't take over some niches like this. They can get close to it, but they're at the end of the day, they will. I believe that there will still be a need for pilots in this modern world.
Yeah, I don't think they're getting that close to even touch it, man. Like I'll agree, right? Like you're talking like say Port of Miami, you're one of the busiest ports. Now Port Canaveral has been the busiest port, whatever. But if you've ever sat out of Port Miami, like it's a long sail away. It takes a while to get out. There's a lot that goes on along with Port Miami. But if you know like some of the ships that come in, you have a 4-foot era. You're talking 2 feet on each side, port and starboard. There is no way nobody other than the pilot who sails that channel and that throughway day in and day out who is able to make that happen regardless. I don't care Elon Musk, I don't care who you are. There's no way you're going to invent some type of technology that's going to be able to do that.
Well, and the sea bottom, the sea floor, what little bit I've learned from, just putting my little boat out in salt water, especially in some of these narrow water areas that the pilot boat operator or the harbor pilot is used for, it changes. I mean, the channel stays pretty consistent, but especially when they get ready to park the boat and so on and so forth, I hats off to those guys. My rear end, you wouldn't be able to put a BB in it for me. Like I have a hard enough time in my 18-foot center console backing it into, my slip. It's just so
yeah,
I could not imagine, man.
There's no way. And just to think, man, like being that person that so many ships depend upon when you're that harbor pilot, like it's a great job. Like I'm not going to hold you to it. It's a stressful job. I know for a fact it's got to be 100% stressful, especially for these guys that are, dealing with these cruise ship operators and a lot of these tankers, oil freighters, and things like that, because there's such a language barrier there that's hard to reach, right? Like we're talking about a lot of Italian captains on cruise ships and all that stuff. So the language barrier, for one, is a hard thing to comprehend. So I can only imagine that a lot of these pilots are multi-language, like they're bilingual in some way or another. But not only are you dealing with the language barrier, you're dealing with having to relay these orders to someone who's got a language barrier. You're dealing with that. You're dealing with the 2 foot of error on port and starboard of the ship. You're dealing with marine traffic. You're dealing with so much, right? Like it's got to be a stressful job.
And knowing all the ships and the controls.
So that's one thing I want to say here is hop in here for a second. So one thing is interesting is in with boating with ships, English is the international language. So everyone has to speak English. That's the thing. In other countries and their maritime academies, they're teaching you not Spanish. They're teaching you English. English is the primary usage. But as you mentioned here, pilots have to communicate with the locals, right? Example, let's just say you're not in the US. Let's just say you're a pilot in Mexico, for example, here. And say you need to use a harbor tug, for an example. You're going to have to communicate with that tug crew, which probably speaks Spanish. So you're going to need to go ahead and communicate with them locally, right? So the cruise ship captain may not know that. That's another prime example, too, of why a pilot comes on board, not only to take control of navigation of the ship, but also to speak with those people locally. Maybe it's a dredge operating in the port. Speak with them and tell them what's up, because the captain of the cruise ship may not know how to communicate with them, or they may not even know that they're there. So that's the reason why the pilots are so vitally important. And to touch on the other thing you mentioned too earlier here about autonomization of ships, SpaceX, one of the tug and barges that sail out of Port Canaveral to recover the Falcon 9 cores, they're starting to play around with autonomization of ships. But with the Coast Guard, they can only legally now, with their limits, can sail autonomously from 12 miles from Port Canaveral or any other port they launch their barges from to the landing zone and back. But other than that, they can't operate. And the reason is when you're in that environment, you really need that local advisor, which is what the pilot is. At the end of the day, he's there working cargo ships, cruise ships, tug and barges, you name it. He's there, and he or she is there working it at any port. So very vital, important for any major port. Now, what is interesting I found is on some cruises, you go to some of these private islands, they don't have a pilot it's always interesting to see how cruise ships dock there because it is definitely a lot different, I say that least.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
Just like with MSC's private island, right? Like MSC, they literally built their dock in between these buoys, and they literally come around, swing in, pull through because they don't want. I don't know. I'm not part of MSC, so don't hold it against me, but I'm pretty sure they don't want these captains trying to back in or side in, float in, and all of that. That what your typical pilot would be able to do. I know firsthand with going to MSC's private island that if the water's too rough, they make a shot. Yo, we can't get in. We can't get in. We float around until the water calms down, the weather changes, the tide changes, the current changes, and then we try again later.
Yeah.
So that's a prime example of MSC. So MSC with their island, I've never been, but I've seen the operations other ways. They have a tug on standby 24/7, which is smart. I wish the other islands would do this because there's often cases where they can't make it in because they don't have that extra sort of propulsion to push them to the pier. And that's something also interesting. A lot of people get confused with pilots. Pilots don't actually drive the ship. Their hands are off. Now, pilots give con, which is control of navigation, meaning they'll say starboard 15 to the ship's deck officer, who would say, shout back starboard 15, and then the ship would turn 15 degrees. The pilots aren't actually ever taking control of the ship unless in the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal, I believe, are those the two places where pilots actually take their controls hands-on and drive the ship.
You seen those pictures, man? Goodness gracious. That's there's a big pucker factor going on when you're going through those canals, man.
Bro, I can't wait to go through those canals, bro. I'm gonna definitely have a balcony. I'm gonna definitely touch the wall. I'm gonna definitely sit out there for that, man. That's
crazy.
It's epic, bro. It's a different shot, right? Like it's different.
Exactly.
Now, here's a question for you. So I just did a transatlantic cruise back in April, right? I went on the Pride. Going through the Pride, we went through like the Straits of Gibraltar. Now I haven't even researched this, and it didn't pop into my brain until now. Now I know the Straits of Gibraltar, the traffic through there is absolutely insane. You're talking about tankers, cruise ships. There's so much traffic. Is that something you know is like controlled by pilots, or if they have like a specific way they would recognize boats going through, whether it's
I do not believe that is controlled by pilots. Most areas of water like that has what you call a VTS, vessel traffic service. All major ports in the world has one. It's usually set up by the Coast Guard of said country or governing agencies. For example, if it's a shared area like the Strait of Gibraltar, they probably have a VTS, which is their job is basically like air traffic control. You know, they're making sure people don't hit each other. They're not pilots though. Again, I'm not 100% sure if they have pilots, but I don't believe, because this is how wide that channel is and how actually out in the ocean it is, they don't have pilots. Typically, pilots are for more confined stretches of water, channels, rivers, harbors, bridges. Prime example in, I believe, Italy, there is a bridge out in the middle of the bay or something, and there's no ports around it, so they don't take a port pilot, so they take a bridge pilot. I believe Captain Kate, I saw it on one of her stories recently. I looked into that, and yeah, they have a pilot board the ship, which is just crazy because here in the U.S., they don't do it this fast, but they board the ship at making 18 knots to board the ship, get on, go underneath the bridge, and get off 18 knots, which is unreal for the U.S. because the U.S., most pilot transfers are done doing 6 to 8 knots usually.
Wow. 18 knots. That's almost full speed, bro. Like that's
pretty much.
But yeah, that question never like popped in my brain because, again, from my standpoint of cruising, I don't really look into the pilot thing as much, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is your niche. This is your thing now. So you look into that a little bit more. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, when I went through the Straits of Gibraltar, the captain told us like the traffic in here is insane. Like there is a ton of traffic that comes through here all day long. So it just hit my brain. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I never really thought of like the air traffic control aspect of it either.
Yeah, every port has one.
Yeah, like the little boats, you know. I mean, being an AO aerial observer, you know, because a lot of my understanding of nautical stuff is actually from being in the air, and you know, I'm sure they have. Well, I know they have the same kind of spotters up on the bridge and everything, but you know, we would used to have to pick out, you know, small little single engine airplanes and stuff like that way out on the horizon because it's not easy to just double back, right? Especially with these ships. When you know, I was watching some of the trials that they do for these ships, and you know, it's miles to get them stopped. It's just
exactly
nuts. So
That's one of the reasons, yeah, why they have, again, pilots. This is the reason why. It's at the end of the day here, they know the local waters really well, and they can keep these smaller boats away. The way they do that is most ports here in the U.S., since the events that happened a while back, the Coast Guard, of course, is following very strict security measures. They usually have a Coast Guard or they have another vessel there. And such as Sheriff Canaveral's usually the Brevard County Sheriff's there, and their job is to keep the smaller boats away from the cruise ships because they can't stop. So if the small boat, there was a situation a few years ago, I should say, and a few months ago too. This happens every few months where there's a smaller boat in the channel. They have no propulsion. Eventually, it's up to the Brevard County Sheriff's or even the pilot boat, for some example, to step in and save people's lives, because at the end of the day, the 20,000 ton ship is not stopping versus your 1 ton or even less than that vessel. It's keep going, because if it does stop, they're talking it could hit the rocks, it could beach itself. So they got to just keep going. So,
and we've seen that. We've seen a couple of ships run aground, and that's not pretty.
No,
hadn't happened in a while, knock on wood. But it's nuts. And speaking to the smaller ships that don't have propulsion, there's a lot of folks that like to kayak fish now, especially in the United States. I'm one of those people, and the ports are awesome to fish in. But,
absolutely.
I fish out at Newport News shipbuilding facility, so a lot of aircraft carriers, subs, all those kind of things. And you can get right up on the shoreline sometimes, but then when you start getting around where they're building the ships, you better be 100 feet away, or there's going to be a little boat that's going to come out to you and redirect you where you need to go.
We're going to make sure you're 100 feet away.
Absolutely.
But out of the Port of Norfolk, which is our home port, I did notice that, they had, they actually, because back in that port, they're building ships inside the Port of Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
So, they actually had Navy guys out there armed to the teeth, which, that's another thing I don't think people think about a lot is terrorist activity around these ports.
Yep.
It's high.
Nope, that's the reason why they have cruise ship escorts ever since the events of 2001. It's Coast Guard law that any passenger vessel movement, they pretty much need a security escort, whether that's with the police department, sheriff's department, or the Coast Guard themselves. You go to is port specific. Prime example, Canaveral, Brevard County Sheriff, they handle it for the most part. Coast Guard does come in every once a month, which is super bizarre because they're here for a week, like they're every sailing. And then for like a month and a half, they're not there, but then they come back. So it's kind of ironic there in terms of what cruise ship escorts go. But every port is that way. Bahamas, same way. But the weird part about it is they don't have these security escorts for the tankers or to the other ships. It's only cruise ships, which I think is kind of bizarre. But
yeah, I mean, you got a lot more mass casualties you could have on a cruise ship than you could on a tanker.
Yeah.
So I see that as being a reason why. But yeah, Tampa's the same way, bro. You go out of Tampa, you got guys with 50 cows strapped to the front of their boats.
Yeah. Like, and not to scare anyone. I mean, it's the world we live in, right? But I'm actually thinking about doing a series about port security from traveler standpoint, right? So, being a Department of Defense employee, and if you're a federal employee, you probably get some of these briefings. But you know what's going on from country to country. What the threat condition is, and what you need to have your head on a swivel for, other than just pickpockets and stuff like that. Because it's real, and and human trafficking is real, which is probably another thing in and out of these ports they're looking for.
How you think I ended up in Florida? No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that a lot of people don't think about. And again, not to scare anyone, but let's get to some fun stuff here, Tyler.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, not that pilot boat stuff is not fun, but what do you do, man? Like, I mean, you don't have a lot of time to yourself. It doesn't sound like, but on a Friday night, Tyler's leaving school. Where's Tyler going?
Well, I usually hit the local restaurant near the house, but other than that, just sitting here, it's kind of boring, but doing the YouTube stuff. But because it's turned as like a hobby, like that's something. Oh, this is fun to do in the off time, right? Yeah, and that's turned into a profession, hobby. Is that a word? It's kind of like I kind of can make money off of it, monetize it, but I still enjoy doing it. So I don't count it as work, but at the same time, Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's fine. I copyright that. Pro amateur or something like that. I don't know.
Pro
But yeah, no. So no, I mean the port's my hobby. When I'm not at the port, I have like it's kind of like a port surveillance setup. Not really, but I have like the radio. I got the marine traffic, got the web cameras pulled up. I pretty much when everything's happening, what have you. So that's my kind of fun. It sounds kind of not the normal kind of fun, but that's kind of what I like doing.
I mean, like to each his own, right? Like that's
exactly.
Like you're talking to two dudes that are excited by what it is you're saying you're doing.
Like, yeah, cool.
I wish my kid at 18 years old, and I love my kids. I wish my kids at 18 would come home from school, hit the local restaurant, come home and work on something that they are devoted and dedicated to as a pure hobby.
Yeah. For sure. I'm sure my parents would have liked it if I would have had something. I mean, I did a little bit of racing, but there's no guaranteed future in that. Like, this is, I mean, I'm sure your parents have told you this, but like, I mean, this is legit. There's a future in this, whether you want it or not. It's up to you. But
yeah, no, it's choice is yours. Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah. If you want to put some life effort into it, you're gonna get a lot of reward, or not, vice versa. It's that's one thing at YouTube. I focused on with my YouTube channel. I used to put out just quantity. I switched it. I said I'm paused. Like 2022, I kind of said I'm pausing in terms of this posting videos. I'm going to focus on quality, and it really has paid off. I mean, I've produced some, in my opinion, really high quality content. So yeah, I focused on that. Now the problem with that is it does take me a little longer to get a video edited. It takes me about a week and a half, which I need to speed up that times because I got some cruises coming up later this year, and they're kind of stacked in an order, which will kind of make it challenging to get videos done. But I got a lot of content coming up. So, but that's what I like doing. Fun. I love cruising. I've probably done about 20 plus cruises. Got a lot more booked. Yeah, that's my idea of fun. I love cruising. I mean, it's the best vacation, and can't beat being out on the water.
It's the best vacation at 18 years old because I know when I was under the age of 18, my parents paid for my cruises, so that was like hands down the best time to cruise.
Well, the funny thing is, pretty much all the cruises I pay for out of pocket now. Since because so this is how I go on so many. If you
got some good parents, man.
Yeah, no, paying out of pocket. I mean, luckily with the YouTube now making revenue and other platforms and stuff, I can and go on more cruises, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I always tell people like, oh, it's great being a YouTuber, but I was like, if you want to make great content, you gotta put pretty much. If you ever seen the YouTuber Mr. Beast or you hear him talk, all the money he makes off his videos just goes back into the videos. Yeah. So that's kind of my strategy. That's kind of my strategy. I listen to some of the big guys in the space, such as him, and how he does it, where he puts all the money he gets back into the content, which I've kind of started to do, and it has paid off in terms of the quality of content I'm able to produce. And again, he does use expensive gear, but he doesn't make it look like it's expensive. Like,
it's not overproduced at all. No,
exactly. I mean, it is overproduced, but it's not. Like it's that fine line where it doesn't look overproduced because he's not putting in 4K or which I do 4K, but this is again, Mr. Beast is a prime example of kind of what you want in terms of creators. If you want to see some visions, he has some amazing advice. I learned a lot over the past year and a half from listening to him on his podcast he's been doing and stuff with people. It's very eye-opening to just try to think of it. You still as a hobby, but try to think of it more as a business. But again, you want to create the best content for the audience. That's kind of what I've kind of done with all my platforms, Instagram. Same with YouTube.
Yeah. What would you want to look at? My best critic is my wife because she'll let me know. It's like,
I'm my worst critic, bro. Like I'll be right up honest with you. I'll film something and I'll be like, "This is hot trash. I'm not even going to put this in the video."
Yep. Nope. It's garbage. I've been there.
I am literally
it's funny though.
My own worst critic.
I've put out stuff before and I'm like, you know what? I mean, I got to put it out. Like I can't do any better with this because whatever footage I got or whatever, and I'm not happy with it, and it goes out, and people love it.
We had that conversation a couple of times. Yeah. You can put out something that you think is going to do great, and it just tanks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man, this is going to be the best thing I've ever done. Right? Million views.
We're talking a video that you put out, and you're so ecstatic. It's coming. Your music is great. Your transitions are on point. Your description, your hashtags, everything's there. and it just bombs.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I've
you
been
put
there.
something together within 5 minutes, you put it out there, and boom, 20,000 views. And you're like, what did I just do?
I knew our stuff on the Symphony. We came back from Symphony, and both Chastity and I were like, man, this stuff is going to be great. We're going to have subscribers here and there. I don't think we have a video from Symphony that's like went over 1,000 yet.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because my editing sucked, but then I come back with the MSC stuff and it's fire. It's like
MSC's a hot commodity, though, man. Like, there's a lot of people out there that want to know about MSC right now.
We were riding the wave, though, because that ship, we were on the last sailing out of Florida, so it went up to Brooklyn or went up to New York. So I got that New York market at the right time.
Right.
Yeah, that's smart right there. No, that's one of the things that I definitely, with videos, it's kind of bizarre. Like, you post these videos like a cruise vlog series. I always tell people this. They're like, oh, I should, put a lot of focus. I'm like, I'm not going to film boarding day because how busy it is. I'm going to film the later half of the cruise. And I'm like, no, to do truth be told, I mean, I've seen personally with my results, my most viewed videos in each series I produce for each ship. If it's a cruise vlog, because I do a lot of cruise vlogs. I do ship tours too. Ship tours, wow, those do really, really well. Yeah. But in terms of like doing vlogs, whatever, you got to do boarding day because it always seems to be the hot commodity. It doesn't matter how many boarding day videos people have seen. They always want to watch another one.
Yeah.
And I've never done boring day, so I guess
that's
I don't have a boring day. It's tough, bro, because I really don't have a boring day. Like it's hard, right? Like even on a sea day, I find so much great stuff to do that I'm just having a blast. My problem is I get so involved into something that I forget that I have to film my next step. Like if I'm at the steakhouse and I'm having a good time with everybody and I want to do a steakhouse review on the Glory, and I eat my appetizers, and then I look over at my buddy Scott, and I'm like, yo, bro, you didn't even tell me I need to film my appetizers. What am I going to do now? I got no appetizers to film.
No, I've been there.
We can help ourselves out, too, as creators on that. I've done it a little bit with Kurt and, the Cruise Nuts. I've asked them before for a little bit of footage here or there, and I think we can help each other out that way. It's like, hey, I'm just missing this little piece of footage that I need to get. Do you have anything that you can help me out with? And the cruise community has been really great with stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. I have my partner channels here in Canaveral, Brandon Barker and Justin Hirsch. Great channels. Want to shout them out for anyone listening. Go check them stuff out. They're really kind of ironic. This is a funny story here. So though Justin was kind of the guy who started when I was young. He was young too at that time. He's probably late same age I am right now, right? And he was doing this kind of same content. He was doing port ship spotting and cruise vlogs, right? And he really inspired me to start doing YouTube. It was kind of ironic is we loop back, all the way up, go all the way now to 2021. I meet him for the first time, and because of his good buddy Brandon, which I met through his videos too, we're all now really close friends and collaborate a lot. And actually, there is some big things coming from all four of us, part of the Port Canaveral ship spotting squad, coming up this winter. I can't give too much details, but it's going to be quite epic of terms of content.
Let's go, man. We're here for it, bro. We're here for it. So,
no, it's going to be.
We're here for the long run. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure you got a lot more people tonight.
All things Tyler, man.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot coming up. But yeah, those guys super cool. And I have had situations where I'm missing footage. Maybe it's I needed a shot of the ship sailing away, or maybe there's some times where I've been on this ship and they're at the port at the same time. So, we get to collaborate in that aspect. I have a good buddy, Jerry Pike, who also part of our port family. Unfortunately, he's not joining us on this great collaboration we're doing later this winter. Dates didn't work up, but he's been times where he's been down at the port and he's been able to fly his drone and get some sick shots of my ship with me in the video sailing away, which is just unreal to use in my videos because he's got the FAA license, the local license to fly in the area. So it's super cool having creators helping each other out. And I've been definitely blown away here by the support of the cruising community. They're a great group of folks. Everyone I've ran into, absolutely great.
Any creators that happen to be watching this, I've got a little secret for you, because some people like to hoard things. If any cruise creator grows, we all grow.
You nailed the
Boom.
spot in the head right there.
Boom.
Yeah, you nailed
Bro,
it.
that is the biggest
Boom.
bomb you could drop on anybody. But before we get off subject, bro, like I have the chat pulled up here because I'm nosy and I want to see what people are talking about. And I just seen you close out the poll. Does that really say that only 66 or only 33% people are subbed to the peer-to-peer podcast?
What are you waiting on? Best podcast
Follow
on
it.
Spotify. I mean, come on,
Like,
man. Like,
let me let you know a little secret. We may be small now, but there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be channel in the very near future that you're not going to want to miss.
no,
Like we're talking about some epic guests and we're talking about some shots fired coming from peer to peer. So if you ain't over on Spotify, I don't know what you're doing with yourself, but you need to get over there because it's coming.
I heard Joe Rogan talking about us the other day.
Joe Rogan, whoa, that you guys made it. If you
now listen, it was a cameo.
It was Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was actually talking about it.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's one of the things too. Yeah, but that's my policy right there with content. Yeah, go ahead, use my content, share my photos. All I ask is give me a credit. You don't even have to tag me. You just have to say Tyler. You don't have to say my full name. You don't have to say my channel name. As long as you just mention me somehow, the Tyler Show, the Cruise Junkie, Tyler, you name it. As long as I'm getting credit, I'm fine. Because at the end of the, as long as you're not making money off of it, like you're not like using it as your advertisement.
Yeah.
Said company. I've had an experience about that.
I saw that, and we were talking about a week ago. I was like, man, wow, that's not cool, man.
Listen, I know it's not cool, but at the age of 18, it's still, I don't know. I look at it different, right? Like, I know it's not cool, and yeah, they shouldn't have did that. It's wrong. My man should have gotten his credit, but I would have just been happy that they're using my stuff at the end of the day.
Shows your quality, man. It shows that you have commercial quality in what you're doing.
Hey, look, credit would have been great, but all in all, y'all use my stuff, so thanks.
Like, I mean, it's
18 years
definitely
old, man. 18. Great. Come on.
Yeah, it's definitely amazing to have my content used. It's just that I have all the effort and time and money I put into it, just a little bit. Again, I'm not asking for you guys to be like follow him or give me a portion of money back. No, I'm not asking for that. All I'm asking is for
just give me that little shout out. Be like,
exactly. It doesn't need to be much. Just need to say credit or just say photo of. It's all I want. The other thing is don't crop out my watermark if it's in the photo.
So I gotta ask, man.
Go ahead.
Favorite cruise line.
Favorite cruise line. Well, hate to break the news to you guys, but as you can see from this cup right here, this is the only cruise line I've ever sailed. All my 20 cruises, this cruise line right here, folks.
That's a good one, man.
I'm loyalist to royalist, as they would say. So
loyal
on the Cruise Junkie, the Tyler Show, we do not try, as I learned from taking classes and stuff, as a journalist or as a media person, you have to be as unbiased as possible. So I try to let that show, but I mostly have only sailed Royal Caribbean. Actually, not mostly only sailed Royal Caribbean in my 20 plus cruises here.
Favorite ship for me, Symphony of the Seas. Still, I mean, MSC, they're in that battle though. Meraviglia was awesome. I love that ship. But
bro, I love them staircases full with all those Swarovski crystals. Made me feel like I was stepping on a Titanic. Just call me Jack.
You got to hold your pinky up at all times.
That's it, man. MSC's coming through, man. The North American market, they're
going strong.
They are not ready, man. I mean, the technological advances that they bring to the table, people don't realize it, and they laugh when I say this, but they're going to give Royal a run for their money.
Yeah. MSC is going to be one of them top runners over the next couple of years, especially when World America gets over here in 2025. Oh, yeah.
Eureba.
Yeah.
I think their smartest thing, though, I mean, this is the thing. I think MSC, back when they had the Seaside come to the U.S. back in, I think, 2016 or what it was, and they were like, oh, we're going to become like the biggest, we're going to be the next Carnival or whatever. I forget what they were saying that they were going to be. But I think their biggest mistake, though, and I'm glad they're finally learning to do this, is they needed to be more expanded to more home ports. Miami is great and all, but they need the Port Canaveral, New York, Galveston. Yeah. I don't think West Coast is going for them, but maybe that's in the future. But that's what they need to do if they want to grow. They unfortunately selling out of one port, not really going to grow your line to become what it is. But I'm glad to see they're doing this. Their ships are very, very interesting to say the least. They're definitely beautiful, but no. I mean,
now you got they sail out of Miami, they sail out of Port Canaveral.
Yep.
They originally sailed out of Tampa, but when the shutdown hit, that ship got scrapped and is no longer part of the fleet. So they're not sailing out of Tampa anymore. I can tell you that they are in the works of going to Galveston. So boom, move on over Texas. MSC is coming through. And not only that, I believe MSC is going to make way over to the West Coast because that Alaska market will absolutely do MSC wonders.
Oh, they'll be, I mean, I may guess in the future may have to go on MSC to Alaska. I mean, if you can't beat the prices already, I mean, that's like,
yeah,
and their parties, man. I mean, like,
thing,
oh yeah,
Carnival, Carnival does a good job of making you feel like, you're part of the family or whatever when you, and their cruise directors and stuff like that, they're hard to beat. But as far as like, because people think that Carnival's the party ship, I'm going to tell you what, they party every night.
MSC, bro. Like,
they party hard every night.
You want to talk about a cruise, bro? I went on an MSC cruise. Was it October or November of last year? I don't know. My vlogs are on the channel. It's the Meraviglia. I did that cruise. The night before we got off, I drank and partied so hard that I left Port Canaveral in my car. I went to Wawa and I threw up in the parking lot and took me an hour and a half nap before I drove 2 hours back home. I was still tanked from the night before. Hands down, MSC, listen, they might not be my favorite cruise line. I don't know if I have a favorite cruise line, but they are going to be that cruise line that is going to be the favorite of a lot of people in the very, very near future. That's going to be that go-to cruise line in the very near future.
So, absolutely, man. My favorite cruise line just happens to be the one I'm on at that period of time.
That's it, bro. That's it. That's it. That's my favorite cruise line.
Yeah, but I've done Royal. I've been grown up on Royal. First ship was the Brilliance of the Seas. Don't ask me the year. It's been a while. But yeah, no, Brilliance of the Seas. I've grown up on Royal, grown up on the brand. It's cool to see it progress. I mean, since I was a little child all the way up to, the way it is now. Love the brand, love the fleet. Absolutely amazing ships. The most innovative ships, I would say, out there by far right now. They're not cookie cutters. That's one thing I wish a lot of the other cruise lines would learn is not to make cookie cutter ships. I mean, there's a lot of cruise lines, cruise brands that just they copy and paste the designs. Not calling anyone out, but there's a lot of them. So I'm glad to see Royal taking steps to just innovate the industry. With the Private Island is a prime example of their innovation, which is blowing away. I mean, I was there when it first opened up, and it was unfortunate as I have a cruise later this year that's not going to Coco Cay, and I was kind of sad because that island's it's just that great. I mean, it's literally, I would say the highlight of the cruise, but it's pretty high up there in terms of being like the highlight of the vacation.
Yeah. Now, see, that's from an 18-year-old's perspective, right? Let's take that into consideration. We're talking about somebody who's 18. So, as someone like us who adults have kids, want to go and cruise and not be there, Coco Cay might not be that thing, right? But I'm telling you right now, bro, my inner child is itching so bad to go to Coco Cay. Like, I've been looking at so many different itineraries on Royal, and I've never sailed Royal. Like, I've never been on a Royal cruise. But Coco Cay is the one thing that's getting me to look and book because I'm like, yo, these slides, this, I got to go here.
It's like an evil layer when you cruise up on that place. It looks like some evil like overlord has just took an island over, like not in a bad way, just like that's what you see. It's like it's in the middle of nowhere, and here's this ginormous slide jutting up out of the middle of this thing. It's overwhelming, man. It's the only thing I can compare it to is walking down Main Street in Disney World and seeing the castle for the first time.
Yeah. And what's cool about Coco Cay too is Coco Cay, you can do whatever you want. You want to go to the water park, you want to have the most adrenaline filled day, you can do it. If you want to go to the beach, just chill, you can do that. You want to go get some luxury, you can do that. You want to just have the craziest pool party ever? Yes. They got that there too.
Yes, that's what I was about to say, man.
Yeah.
That lagoon pool, that's where it's at, man.
Absolutely.
That is a non-stop
we
party.
We need to go Royal, Josh. We need to make this happen, bro.
Hey, I'll do it, man. I love Royal Caribbean, and
hey, if you're selling out of Port Canaveral, high chances I may be on. No, I was kidding.
Symphony, man. That's my favorite ship.
Yes, I've done the Oasis class, so I've done Wonder, I've done Harmony, I've done Oasis. And then I have Allure, I think, scheduled for later this year. So after that, I'll only have Symphony I haven't done. Oasis class is not my favorite class. I mean, Oasis class is amazing. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely up there. But Mariner and Navigator, those are my two favorite ships, and they're kind of like the Voyager 2.0 class. The reason I like it is the capacity. You get a lot of the features you see on the bigger ships, right? You got the flow rider, you got the water slides, you got the rock wall, you got the ice skating rink, you got the specialty dining center kind of on the new ships like Giovanni's, you get the Jamie's. I mean, you got Jamie's Italian, you get Chops Grill, you get the Izumi, you get Gray Shows too. But you get a smaller crowd count, because that's the one thing I don't like about the Independence of the Seas, which is the ship I sail often when it's out here at Canaveral. That's the same thing as the Mariner or the Navigator, but you're talking, twice as many people. I just like it because you get to, number one, you have more personalized service, which is something you lack on the Oasis class ships. Every Oasis class cruise I've had, there's been great staff, right? But because of the amount of people, you do feel a little bit
you don't
more
feel that
rushed.
one-on-one.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That's what I like.
Exactly.
I mean, I want to sell on the Icon. I'd like to sell on Utopia, but I'm going to tell you, like, for me, I mean, that looks like going to an amusement park, and that's not what I want my cruising experience to be. So I want to check them out.
Amusement park or not, I'm getting on the Icon of the Seas as soon as those costs go down. Let's just
absolutely.
Yes.
Like, I'm not paying 10 grand for an interior cabin on Royal Caribbean.
No,
if you ain't going to catch me paying 10 grand for Cunard or Silver Seas or anybody like that, you ain't going to see me paying it for Royal Caribbean.
No, for sure.
But
yeah, that's one thing.
At that point, I'm not worried about my cruising experience, right? I know I'm going to have a good time regardless. I literally just want to go and get as much of that ship as possible. Because I'm telling you now, if you're a cruise content creator, Icon is going to be one of those ships that is going to do phenomenal for your channel over the next 8, 10, 12 months. There's never going to be a time where your videos aren't going to do great on Icon, bro. You're talking about cruise rates that are so high right now that in 12 months from now, they're going to drop in price. And that's when people are going to start booking. So your content's still going to do tremendously well from the time Icon comes out for at least a year, if not more.
I did wonder in her inaugural season, so I did right at the cusp. Like, it was literally like a year. It's almost on the exact date we were on that Wonder. It pretty much, my videos weren't doing as great as the hype as Icon's going to give, but no, there's definitely a lot of hype into the Wonder. It's cool to see the evolution of the Oasis class, and Icon is kind of like the ultimate evolution of Oasis class, right? I mean,
for sure.
Oh my word, the ship looks amazing, and I can't wait to sail it. Hopefully, we'll get one, maybe the sister ship to Icon here in Canaveral, because that would be legendary. And hopefully, when it does come to Canaveral, they'll lower the prices a little bit too.
So that's the buzz, as Utopia's coming there?
Utopia will be here. Yes, it will be here in July of next year. It will replace the Allure of the Seas, doing the 3 and 4 night cruises. It will be the world's biggest weekend, is what they're marketing as, and it will be the world's biggest cruise ship weekend. And it'll be doing the 3 and 4 night runs. I'm not sure how long they'll stick it with the 3 and 4 night runs. There's been some buzz going around that they're gonna, run it for until February or something, and they're gonna.
Yeah, they're open now. They're open now for a few months out. So
see, I want to go on I want to go transatlantic on a ship like that. So
absolutely,
I can experience it all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard, bro. I don't know if them ships are gonna be doing TAs like that, man.
I know Oasis class does that every 5 years, I think, because after that dry dock period in Europe, so they do a transatlantic. I really want to do that. And the nice thing about those transatlantic is they're not too long. They try to do them pretty quickly. So they're usually about 9 nights or 10 nights. So you try to do them really quick. So they get them across, park, get people off, dry dock, and then they do European season, do another transatlantic back, and they're back.
You won't get me on that, bro. I need a 14-day TA. That's it. I'm telling you right now, the best part of my transatlantic is 7-8 straight days at sea.
Yeah,
like
sea days are
the best part of that transatlantic. You ain't getting me on anything less than that. And if you do, it's going to be with Cunard, the only still standing ocean liner ship out there that does direct from New York to London or Southampton. That's the only way you're going to get me to do that quick TA.
Yeah.
If we're talking about an Oasis class ship or another type of ship, no. I need that 14 days. I need them 7 glorious days at sea, bro. When I tell you, Josh, it is one of the best things you'll ever experience in your life. It is absolutely peace and tranquil for 7 straight days, man. You can't.
We're looking for the anniversary cruise next year, Big 25. So transatlantic.
MSC too. Let's go.
Yeah. I want to do a big one. And
what I dream cruise right there is transatlantic on Icon. I mean that big of a ship for that many days. I mean, that's just
you're going to need it, man. I think you're going to need like 2 10-day sailings
just to cover the whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts.
Could you imagine
Unless
how
you dunk it
long
off
the
at all at
behind
the
the
porch,
scenes
yeah.
tour would take if you did something like that? Like if they offered a
Yeah.
behind the scenes tour, dude, it's going to have to take up 2 of your C days. Like that's just the way it's going to go.
That would be unreal. I wish they offered a true behind the scenes tour on cruise. So they'd offer the ones where they go to like the engine control room, the bridge, the laundromat. But I was talking the true nuts and bolts of the ships. I mean, you're seeing the pilot door. You're seeing some really cool stuff that you see in photos that some like, you see Business Insider or something do those. I wish they offer that to the public sometimes, because I would love to be able to do like a true behind the scenes tour.
Yeah, they did the video on the Meraviglia. It sounds like I'm a promoter of MSC here. I mean, if they want to throw me a bone, and give us a free sailing, I'm good with that. But there was I can't remember. It's an Amazon Prime video, but they showed it was 7 episodes on a 7-day sailing, and they showed every little piece. But the most intriguing one to me was how quickly they turned the ship. And the guy that's there, like inspecting the fruits and stuff, like he was no joke. One rotten piece of fruit, the whole thing goes.
Whole face went back.
Yeah,
yep. I seen that one. Yeah,
it's called Mega Chips, bro.
That's right.
Insane.
Yep.
Insane. It's a great watch. So if you got time to watch it, check it out. You can find it on Amazon Video. It's a great little video to watch, man. But
yeah, it's
insane how fast they turn that ship around from the time it docks to the time it gets back, sailing back on the water. It's insane. But
and everything that's going on, Yeah. So hey, I've got a question I've been wanting to ask, and we can go as long as you've got school tomorrow, but
keep going. I don't care. Nothing on to later.
So how has your life in high school been now that you are a monetized YouTuber and you've got bona fides on YouTube, right? So like it's a big word for you there, bona fides. But do people at school recognize it? Do they know, or is it kind of like your alter ego?
No, and people know about it. I'm quite open about it. I got a lot of support about it. I got teachers supporting, other people in the class supporting it. It's really great.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, it hasn't really, other than that, it hasn't really affected it. I mean, I just have more. I talk about boats a lot, so
yeah,
known as like the boat guy. But other than that, no, I mean, it's just been great.
And obviously great support from your parents. I mean,
absolutely couldn't have done without them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, I'm a little jealous of your parents because my kids did great. They had other interests, and I mean, like this wasn't even in their wheelhouse because until a couple years ago, we didn't know what a pilot boat operator was, right?
So, no, exactly. No, that was you hit the nail on the head. Until a few years ago, I kind of didn't really know what to do. I didn't have like a hobby, whatever. I mean, I had the YouTube thing, but it wasn't really as they couldn't see the picture until I was luckily had the chance to take both of them out on the boat. So it was super cool to show them, what I actually got to do because of the YouTube channel. So
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, both my kids made good decisions in life. They're serving in the military, but it's like, I think like, so one of my children ended up going into the same kind of field that I was in, which is fantastic. My other son, he's in aviation, which I have a part in aviation, rotary wing as well. But like, I look back at the things that we were working on, right? Like, hey, we're playing baseball, we're doing this, we're doing that. And I've told Chastity before, I was like, I should have put these kids in like STEM stuff and, Boy Scouts. And, but I mean, anyway, but it's cool that you have seen this for yourself. But kind of segues into what are your extracurriculars? Do you play any sports? Do you do like quiz bowl or anything like that? Debate team? What do you do in school besides go to school?
Bro, where's the time?
So yeah, I do. I take of course with the YouTube stuff. I help out with the schools. I done yearbook. I've done the I do the other events at the school. Maybe if they have, for example, an event, maybe it's a talent show, maybe it's the dance party they have at the school. I'm the guy in
You're the AV guy, man.
Yeah, well, that, and I'm also the MC too, with the that. Awesome. So I'll be able to do that. Like extracurricular sports activities. I really like on the ship they have the floor rider. I'm not sure if you heard about it. If you watch my videos, I talk about it in almost every single video. But what's kind of ironic is they have one on land actually pretty close to the house. So I try to hit up once a month or so if I don't have a cruise scheduled for a few months, because you go out there, you can also, do it at home, practice with the boards and stuff at home. So it's definitely
What was it
cool.
again? Say that again.
The Flow Rider.
Oh, the Flow Rider. Okay. I thought
Yes, Flow Rider.
I'm half deaf from being around helicopters and guns for a lot of my adult life. So, I was like, I heard floor runner.
I mean, you can do that on the cruises too. You can definitely.
That's what I am. That's what I am when they say the buffet is open. I'm a floor runner,
I'm a floor runner.
Yeah, you can run on that cruise ship. That's for sure. You can crawl. With seas are rough, you can use your belly to just scoot yourself along the floor.
Hey, so this is a little off topic, but when my son got out of basic training that was in the Marine Corps, the way they mopped their floors and cleaned their floors, they didn't give them brooms or mops. They had to have like their buddies hold them up and put towels on their hands, and that's how they would scrub the floors. So they were floor running. They're doing a little floor running.
Yeah, they're a little floor rider. Yeah.
So hey,
I love the floor rider though. It's great.
Other than YouTube, obviously, like, what's the future, man? You plan on going to college? You gonna go to
that's
school?
the plan. Yeah, no, the plan is college. Working on that now.
You gonna be a bulldog or a gator?
None. No, sir. Guess why? Again, I don't want to give too many details because I haven't gotten any accepted yet or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
Boilermaker.
It's going to definitely shake things up for the channel. That's for sure. I'll leave it as that.
But that's cool, man. I mean, that's cool. And you build your resume for college with what you're
doing.
Oh,
absolutely.
Here.
Nope. And the college, I'll give a hint here. The college I want to go to, or colleges I want to go to, has a big impact in the marine industry.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've got one right up the road here, the shipbuilder school. I don't know that you're interested in that, but any so I'm going to pry a little bit more. Any interest in the military?
No, not that. The commercial side is something I'm looking into. I'll go ahead and say something more. I want to thank the pilots. They've opened my eyes to career possibilities. So yeah, they've opened my eyes and kind of said this is a good path here. Try checking it out. So
yeah, we don't want to spill the beans. We'll have you back on when you make your decision.
Yeah, absolutely. That should be coming up.
We gotta have Tyler back on, man. I've been
absolutely.
Look, nothing against our previous guests, but I've been more excited for this one than any episode. I really have.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean
it's because it looks at a different perspective, right? Like we know, like at our age, man. Like I'm not an older guy, I'm not a younger guy, but I'm like right there. I'm in my mid-30s. Like this is a kid that's 18 years old, going to school full time, YouTube full time, trying to figure out where he wants to go in life and what he wants to do in life, and it's just like. Your head is absolutely where it needs to be.
Exactly.
But
ask
another 18-year-old and it's nowhere near where it needs to be. So
I mean it's really no different than an athlete, right? So athletes get all the due in the world, right? Oh, I'm the quarterback, I'm a 5-star athlete. You've put in the work for what you want to do for your future. You've put that work in, and Tyler is the 5-star recruit for being a harbor pilot. I mean, really, like
that's it.
He's put it in, man. I mean, it is no different, bro.
He's the first in the harbor pilot draft pick of 2025.
That's right.
I wish it was that easy to get into the pilots. I wish it was. It was a lot more than just saying, "Hey, I know."
A lot of times, I know how it works. I know how a lot of things work.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting.
But get your 100-ton captain's license is a long process.
More than that, you need unlimited tonnage. That's
you got to get if it takes you a good 7-10 years to get that 100-ton. It's going to take you a long time to get where you need to be that pilot.
Absolutely, but
at the end of the day, it's well worth it, man. It's
exactly.
Absolutely, going to be what you want it to be, and it's going to be worth what you want it to be. It's going to be where, you want to be in life, it's going to be well worth it at the end of the day, dude. So
Yeah.
congratulations with having your head on
Thank
your
you.
shoulder the way you are at 18 years old, man. It's very inspiring for the younger generation for sure.
For sure.
That's funny too. Like, you see a lot of other YouTubers out there who, they want to be cruise ship captains, right? But I think I am the only person who wants to be something in the harbor pilot niche, whether that's the boat operator or the pilot themselves. So I think it's kind of funny there. So
I think
a lot of them are like, I want to be the captain, which is, that's great, but I want to strive for a little more than that, or something a little bit different, I should say.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I mean, I can't really reveal what I do for a living, but what I'm going to say what I do.
Sell dirty underwear on the internet.
So what I do for a living, though, like if I would have just had an inkling when I was your age, I could have progressed so much faster.
Oh, not only just progress so much faster, but like the whole time we're sitting here talking, like my brain is like, if I would have did this when I was 18, like where would my life have taken me now? And I know we're not reading chats, but I mean, like, look at Meg's comment. Heck, I still don't have my head on my shoulders at 40.
Exactly.
Like it's mind blowing, right? Like to sit here and know that you're talking to an 18-year-old who's got such a tunnel vision, bro. Like exactly on what you wanted to be. Like
again, I want to say it hasn't come that way until recently. I want to again thank the pilots for that. I mean, they've really exposed me to a lot and gotten to kind of get an idea. They said, hey, you want to look at doing this route? It looks really good. You seem like you like the stuff. Look into that. And I was like, okay. And then I looked into it, and it's really great.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not a young man's game. I mean, they probably are. I bet recruitment is probably a goal for them, right? Because it's
no, definitely they're going through. I mean, in the state, it's starting. It's a good thing is in the state they're starting to be a lot more younger pilots. I mean, younger because again you have to get this captain's license, and you have to get all these licenses, so you can't be like 21, But they're definitely in the late 30s or something like that. It's been great to see that. Change of the maritime sector. There's still a problem in the maritime sector from what I'm able to gather of getting people to want to join because to be frank, I mean, everyone wants to be a YouTuber full time nowadays, which it's great, but there's just, there's problems there in the sector. So that's the thing with the maritime. They're having a serious problem is that not a lot of people are really wanting to go into that sector. And I've looked into that sector and there's a lot of benefits and I'm just like, that's the sector for me. Doesn't matter which side of it is, maybe I'm actually on the water, or maybe I take a role as doing something else in this sector, maybe as a content creator for some company. Again, there's so many things in the maritime sector. I tell my friends at school this sometimes, that look into it because the vacation is one thing. I mean, you work 3 months, yes, but you get 3 months off. So many good sectors.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Let's go. 3 months worth of cruising. I'm on board, bro. I'm on board.
Yeah, that was
man. I know you don't want to hear this, but stay living with mom and dad, and just like No,
that was one of the jokes I was making with my friends. Yeah, they're like, "Oh, well, if you go get a job working on a ship, so when you come back, you don't want to be on the water." And I'm like, I love the water, man. I don't know. I mean, there's something different between working and then I was like, I guess So. No, I definitely love to go ahead and hopefully in the future, do something with the industry because I am doing something now with Port Canaveral or whatever, but hopefully make it bigger and have more of an impact in the industry because kind of needs that.
That's awesome, man. So we're about an hour and 15 minutes now, and
bro, I want to say thanks, dude. I don't know what else you're gonna say. Like, I don't have any other questions. I'm just completely mind blown at this point. But I want to thank you for coming on here, man.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Like this was a great conversation, and I know there's a lot of people's minds that are going like, "Why did I get into driving trucks?"
This is chapter 1.
I'm one of them.
Having Tyler on here, we got to have Tyler back.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would love to come back. You guys have been great. Again, I want to appreciate and thank each and every one of you for coming on, and for the viewers at home watching on YouTube recording or on the Spotify podcast. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
This man, he's a man. He's 18. Subscribe to this man.
That's right. So we appreciate all of you watching. I appreciate Josh and Mike for having me on, for the invite. Love doing these type of interviews with people. I've done a few in the past, and every time always been this absolutely great getting a chat with fellow people who enjoy kind of the same thing I do. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. This was great. Definitely want to have you on again. And we thank you very much. I'm gonna boot you down. We're gonna finish off here on our admin. But thank you so much, Tyler. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely, guys. You all have a good night.
You too.
You too, man.
So hey, go if you haven't liked and subscribed to him yet, go on over there and do it. The kid is amazing. You can see that his content. I mean, he's putting out better content than us two. I can guarantee you that. Like I've
don't
seen it.
even group me in a category with that guy right now. Like,
Nah, he's doing great things.
he's
So,
doing some big things. He's doing some great things, man. And again, 18 years old, like
humble.
very humble, very humble. But I don't know who's our next guest.
So yeah, you're gonna want to tune in because Lovey's Big Bite. That's
I
our
don't know.
next one.
Lovey's big. We're gonna get a message after this, like, bro, I'm not following Tyler. Find somebody else.
I don't know, like I don't know how he's going to be with now. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett, and he's a big Margaritaville fan. So
Yeah,
but
me too, man. It's
this
tough.
world has a hole in it now, brother.
Yeah, a big hole, hole. And you know what, man? Like again, big inspiration on the cruising lifestyle, right? Like Jimmy Buffett, he was the #1 guy that brought them island vibes. I'm a big Bob Marley guy. And I love the reggae vibe and all that, but Jimmy Buffett was the man that made it work. He was the man, the myth, the legend, and the world's definitely not going to be the same without Jimmy. But that just means we have to have one more margarita, whether it's The Last Mango in Paris or whatever it may be, and then sing more of Jimmy Buffett songs at karaoke.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a sad weekend for that. And you really don't know how much you're going to miss like a professional artist or something like that until that moment comes, right? So all weekend long, I was thinking like, oh man, who's next? Like, am I going to lose Billy Joel soon? Is Paul McCartney going to find his way out? Like, what? Come on, man.
It's been a pretty rough year. It really has for losing folks. But hey, man, another great episode. That was awesome.
Yeah,
Come back next. Well, let's see. It's going to be a little while. So I've got a sailing. But we'll be back with Lovey. Will be our next guest from Lovey's Fat Life. And we've got a couple more irons in the fire here. Some more things coming. And,
we got a couple pokers in there that I need to get out and start jabbing at some people eventually. So, I mean, there's going to be some shots fired eventually. It's just
bananas. It's just bananas, bro.
It's just a matter of time until that happens. But what do you got going on next? You got any new things getting ready to drop this week or anything like that?
I mean, I'm dropping shorts every day, and I'm putting short videos out.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I meant for YouTube, bro, not what you're doing behind the scenes.
Right now, I'm working on the terrain race show or terrain race vlog.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm putting that together. Just dropped Destin Harbor Walk Village.
Yeah, I got a question about that too, man. Once you get done explaining everything.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's it. We'll have Shooting a Breeze next Monday.
Okay.
That's it.
Now, did Destin Harbor Walk Village pay you for that, man? Because that was an infomercial. If I have not seen one, I was like, my boy is over here trying to sell me a timeshare up in Destin with this voiceover right now.
Oh man, I mean,
it was a nice walkthrough. You did that on the Insta 360, right?
Yeah, I did, and I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to edit down with a 360 and get that curve out.
Yeah.
So you lose your 4K if you just eliminate it altogether. So it's all about aspect ratio. But yeah, I mean, we looked before we went out there, and the highest viewed one. I told Chastity, I'm like, we're about to knock this one out of the park. Like, if this dude got 33,000 views on this thing, so had some intent going in on what we wanted to do.
Video, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed walking through. I was like, oh, this is a nice little spot. I could come here and just like kick it. And you know me, I'm only like 6 hours away, so it's really not that far for me to go check out. And it's close to PCD, so
yeah, I mean, I'm sure the Hammer can let you know all about it. I didn't realize he was that close. So my oldest son lives out at Tyndall Air Force Base, so he's right there at Panama City.
Oh yeah,
already.
Scott's right there.
Yeah. So I mean, we try to visit as often as we can. So
Yeah, and I think I'm not 100% sure or not, but I know Scott's dad was in the Air Force, and I think that's where he retired from. So that's why he stayed. His dad retired and lived in PCB, and when Scott's mom passed, he ultimately moved from Massachusetts down to Panama City Beach, and that's where Scott's been ever since. But I never been up there, never hit the Emerald Coast, did none of that. I am going to make it up to the Emerald Coast this year, though. I definitely got to go to the Florida-Bama line. The original Bahama Breeze again, back to Jimmy Buffett. I got to go to that.
Go get you a bushwhacker, man. You got to get you a bushwhacker,
that's it, man, and go chill where Jimmy chilled. But I got a vlog dropping Wednesday night at 8:00. So if you're interested, check that out. Other than that, man, I got nothing else going on until the booze cruise in October, and I'm kind of like itching to get on a ship, dude. So I don't know.
You and me both. I'm glad that the dog is on the mend, so we are in the clear for cruising.
Nice.
So we're 12 days out from heading down to Miami, and then 15 days out from going up the gangway, baby. So
are y'all flying or driving?
Yeah, we're gonna fly down.
You're gonna fly down?
Yeah, me, we're gonna fly down there.
Nice.
And, have some good Cuban food, hopefully, before we jump on.
Yeah, you were supposed to do that here in Tampa, but I didn't get no phone call. But that's all right. It's besides the point. Next episode, peer to peer. Josh is not going to be here because he didn't come see me when he was in Tampa. No.
Yeah. No, I'm down there all the time. That week was so crazy, dude. Like, you don't even know. So I was going to England right after that. So
yeah, no, I know. It's all good, man.
I was pulling like 12 and 14-hour days because I was in training. We will get together. I
was hoping to get together with everybody before the booze cruise, man, so we can like kick it. But I think we're just gonna have to make it happen on the booze cruise. I was gonna try and jump on y'all's cruise in September, but then y'all told me it was an anniversary cruise. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Let them have their time. It's bad enough the cabin's probably gonna be all torn up the whole time anyway.
It'd be a good time to bring in the blacklight, man.
Yeah, that'd be a good time to bring it in. And listen, that's coming in October, bro. Like, I'm so stoked to check out these.
Stay out. Well, so Chastity was like, "You should do a before and after of ours."
Or me?
You. So before blacklight,
right?
And then like
after blacklight.
Yeah.
Man, listen, if y'all gonna go at it like that, that's fine.
All right, man. Hey, we're gonna get off here. Tune in. Make sure not only that you like and subscribe to both our channels and Tyler's as well, but also make sure that you go over to Spotify. Not only watch, but follow. That way you get the notifications when new content is dropped. We're here for you guys. We can't wait till the next episode. For myself, I'm out.
Yeah,
Mr.
and
Mike.
listen, Spotify, 33% of y'all. That's it, 33%. Get over to Spotify.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
It costs you nothing. Be part of the first few people that have subscribed. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all next time. Until then, y'all know what I say. I'm out. Y'all
We're
stay
out.
Peace.